Welcome back everyone. So today we are going to be building the simple to-do list with Next.js 13 app router. And this is basically the final project. As you can see, it is really simple. And we have this title here and also this button. All right, if I click that, it should be open the modal really clean. As you can see, the animation is really nice. And here I can go to gym. And if I hit enter, as you can see, we have this go to gym right here. All right. And also I can edit that. For example, I'm going to remove this and change the text into, let's say, I'm going to say finish my press course. All right. So if I hit enter, and also it's going to be updated. All right. I can also delete this text here. As you can see, we have the pop-up right here. If I click yes, and it should be gone. All right. So this is really simple, and we are going to use Next.js 13, all right, which is this 13 app router. As you can see, it's really new, and it's just on a beta version, so it's not recommended you to use that into the production, all right. And also we're going to use JSON server, is basically a FAQ REST API, so we're going to use that. And also for styling, we're going to use Tailwind CSS and also DaisyUI to make it look really nice, all right. And also for this icon here, we are going to use React icon. So yeah, that's what we are going to learn today. And let's jump into the terminal. All right, so now let's open your terminal. And in here, I'm going to copy and paste this command here, all right? npx create next app letters -- experimental app. So I'm going to copy that right here. And I'm going to paste that into my terminal here. Let's hit enter. For the project name, I'm going to say simple to do app. All right, let's hit enter. I'm going to use TypeScript. I'm going to use ESLint, yes, and source directory, I'm going to say no. And import alias, let's just say this add right here. It's going to be installing all the dependency for us, okay? So let's wait for that. All right, it's done. So let's cd into the simple to do app. And I'm going to open that into the Visual Studio Code. So the first thing what we need to do is let's open the terminal, and I'm going to say npm run dev. Should be running the app into localhost 3000. And let's go back to the browser, and I'm going to open the localhost 3000. Let's do 3000, and it should be it's still compiling, I think. And here we go. Okay, this is the default theme of the Next 13. So what we need to do is let's go to app and let's go to layout. And the first thing is let's click allow here. The first thing is I want to change the title. As you can see here is the title, which is create next app. I'm going to change that to, let's go with simple to do app. Okay, if I save, and as you can see, it is automatically updated. All right, so for the description, let's remove this, and I'm going to say simple do app for learning Next.js 13. Okay, so let's save. And what we need to do next, let's go to the page here, and I'm going to remove all of this. Let's remove that. And also I'm going to remove all the div here. All right, let's remove that and put h1. I'm going to say next 13, right? Let's also remove this class name. And now let's remove this page Modal CSS file. And also I'm going to remove the API folder. Let's click right and delete, move to trash. And yeah, here we go, it's gone. So this is what we have. Let's go to global CSS, and I'm going to remove all the style. And now we have Next 13. Okay, cool. So next we need to install the Tailwind CSS. Let's go to tailwindcss.com, click get started, and click this framework guides, click Next.js, and let's copy this command here. Okay, install dependency, Tailwind CSS, pull CSS, and auto prefixer. So let's open another terminal here, and I'm going to paste that in here. Let's just hit enter. And it should be create a file called tailwind config.js for us right here, I think. And here we go. We have the tailwind config.js file. So here we need to copy this content here. So let's just copy that and put that right here. All right. And also we need to put this Tailwind based component and utilities into the global CSS, just like that. Let's close this and also close the Tailwind config. And now let's just try that. And in here, I'm going to do class name, and then I'm going to say text into the center, and I'm going to add underline. Wait, underline. Okay, so let's hit save and let's take a look. All right, here we go. We have the text into center and also have underline in Next.js 13 here. So now we need to install the DaisyUI, and let's click the, I think this C components, and go to install here. And let's copy this npm install a DaisyUI. Let's go back. We need to open another terminal again, and let's put it right here and hit enter. And what we need to do next is basically let's copy this plugin here, require DaisyUI, into the Tailwind config. So let's go back here and we need to put that right here. Okay, just like that. Now let's try to use a button here, and I'm going to click me, and I'm going to add class name called btn. Btn is basically class from the DaisyUI. So let's see how this is look. Let's go back to simple to do, and as you can see, this is working. So let's styling the home component here, and I'm going to remove all this styling. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create another div. But before that, I'm going to wrap this class name with, let's do maximal width. I'm going to say 4XL, okay? And I'm going to add the background red so you can see. Let's do maybe text here. Let's say hello. So when I save, and let's take a look here. This is basically the maximal width for XL. I'm going to put it into the center so I can say, let's do here, MX, which is margin horizontally to auto. Here we go. So what we need to do next is I'm going to add margin top. So I'm going to do margin top to 4. Here we go. And let's remove the background. We don't need that. And inside in here, I'm going to, let's do class name into, let's say center, which is text center. And also we have the margin vertically. I'm going to set it to 5. And it's going to be a display flex. And let's say flex column. And also let's do flex column. And also we have a gap. I'm going to say 4. All right. So inside this div, I have h1, and this h1 is basically like the title. I'm going to say to do list app, just like that. And I'm going to add class name called, let's do text to XL or something. There we go. I'm going to make it bold, so I can say on bold. Wait, bold. All right. And also down here, I'm going to put another component called add task. So let's do add tags here. And I'm going to create the component into the components folder. So inside of apps, I'm going to create components folder. And inside the component, I'm going to create a file called add tags.tsx, right? Then here I'm going to say rafce, and I'm going to remove the React. I'm going to just import the add tags right here. So now we should be able to see the add tags here. All right, let's go back to add tags, and now we need to styling this add tags component. Let's remove this, and I'm going to render a button here, and the text it should be add new task. And also in this button, I'm going to add class name called btn and btn-primary. And also I'm going to say width to full, just like that. And now we have this add new task, right? So basically in the final project, we have this button plus right here, okay? So let's go to React icons, and I'm going to install that first. So let's go back to terminal, and I'm going to say npm install react icons. Let's hit enter. And what the icon I'm going to use is let's search for plus, this thing here, I think. So let's click that. It's going to be copy the name of the component, and let's go back here. And right here, I'm going to put the icon in here, just like that. And of course, we need to import that. So let's go up here. I'm gonna say import something from React icon / AI, because we're using this AI here. Okay. If you want to use let's see and icons here and design icon, you need to use AI. If you use Bootstrap, you need to use ES. Basically you can follow along all of this name here. Okay, it's have a lot of icon that I believe you will love that. Let's go back here, and I'm going to import this icon from the React icon / AI. And also for the size, I'm gonna do, let's say 10 or something. Let's save and let's go back here, and here we go. Okay, let's change that to 18, make it bigger, and here we go. So I can add for example margin left, that we can create that here. Margin left to, I want to say 2, and here we go. So the next thing is I'm going to create a table here. So the table should be inside the to-do list component. Let's go back to page here, and basically down here we have component called to-do list, like so. So now let's create the to-do list into the components folder. So let's do to-do list.esx. Okay, so let's do rifce, and I'm going to import the to-do list from here. Okay, here we go. So now we should be able to see this to-do list. Cool. So now let's go to the DaisyUI, and let's go through the table, I think. Yeah, this table here. Let's click that. And I'm going to use this simple table here. Let's go to JSX. And basically, this is what we need to use. Okay, so we need to just copy all of that. Let's go back to the list, and let's just paste that right here. All right, let's save, and let's take a look what we have in the browser. And here we go. Okay, we have this beautiful table, and I'm going to remove the empty head here and also the center here. So let's remove this, and also the job here, and of course let's just remove all of this thing here. Now we just have one DR, and I'm gonna remove the one, and also let's just remove, I think, this one. Okay, so now we have two, which is name and also the favorite color. So now let's install the JSON server to create fake REST API. So let's go to the GitHub documentation here, and I'm going to, let's go through this installation. Basically you can install as a global, but I'm going to install that as a dependency. So here I'm going to open another terminal, and I'm going to say npm install -d, and I'm going to say JSON-server, right? And hit enter, and I'm going to let's minimize all the file here, and I'm going to create a folder in here called data, and inside this data I'm going to create a file called to-dos, let's say to-dos.json file. All right, so in here what I'm gonna do is let's create an object, and I'm gonna say task. All right, and this task is basically array, and inside this array we have couple object. So I'm gonna say ID here, and the ID should be, for now, to say 1. This is basically a string, so I'm gonna say 1 like so. And also the text, I'm gonna say let's say buy milk with some orange, right? And also I'm going to add another object here, so let's just copy this, paste that down here. And also the ID, it should be, I want to say 2. And also the text, let's change that to something like maybe help my friend to find a girl. All right, so now let's go back to package.json file, and I'm going to add another script here, and the script called JSON, let's say JSON server. And to run the JSON server is basically really simple. You can go to the documentation here, and as you can see, we can do like so. All right, so I'm going to do here, let's say JSON server watch. I'm going to watch into the data / todos.json file, and I'm going to use port, let's say 3001. All right. So to run this is pretty simple. We can just go into the terminal and we can say npm run JSON server. Okay. So hit enter and it should be, as you can see here, it's done. When I click this, it should be make a get request. As you can see here, for the / tags, we have this two object, right? So now let's create the API that we can use to fetch this URL here. So inside this root here, I'm going to create, I think I'm going to close all this file, and also I'm going to minimize this. And in here, I'm going to create a file called APIs. Okay, let's just say API, I think. API.ts, all right? Let's create a variable called base URL, set that equals to, let's go back to the browser. I'm going to copy this URL and go back here and put that right here. Okay, just like that. And what we need to do next is down here, I'm going to create a function. Let's export the function. The function name should be get all to dos, right? Just like that. And it's going to be async await function. And this async await function is basically will return a promise. So I'm going to create interface. So here I'm going to create a folder called types, right? Inside the types, I'm going to create a file called, let's say, task.ts, right? In here, I'm going to export variable, not variable, but interface. The interface name, it should be e-task, which is interface for task. And also here, I'm going to say ID, it should be string, and also the text, right? And text, it should be also string. So now let's go back to API here, and this function here, it should be a returning promise. So I'm gonna do promise, and this promise have a value with a type e task, and the task is basically inside the array, just like that. Okay, so inside in here, I'm gonna do const response that equals to, I'm gonna use fetch, come from JavaScript. Let's say fetch, and I'm gonna use backtick here, and I'm gonna put the base URL, and I'm gonna say / task, and down here I'm gonna say const to do set equals to await for respond.json. All right, and down here I'm going to return, let's say, to dos. So now we can use this get all to dos function into the app/page.tsx. So in here I'm going to await for get all to dos. So I'm going to import the app here, and of course I'm going to create a variable called, let's say, task that equals to get all to dos. Okay, let's run the function like so. But as you can see, this get a warning and cannot find task. Wait, oh, I'm doing wrong here. It should be const task set that equals to wait for get all to dos. Okay, we still get a warning because this function is not async await function. So we can add async in front of the function keyword here. We can say async, just like that. So now if I console log the task, we should be able to see the data. Okay, so if I hover the task here, as you can see, the task has a interface e-task. Let's go back here, and I'm gonna back to here. Let's open the console and let's see what we have. Okay, so let's refresh. We cannot see in the console because this is a server component, so I think we can see that into the terminal. And here we go, we have the value here. Really cool. So now what we can do is I'm going to send the tags into the to-do list component. So we can say task set equals to task. So now we get this error here because inside the to-do list, we not handle this to-do task props. So now let's go to to-do list. Let's go to component and then to-do list. And inside in here, I'm going to first create the interface. Let's say interface. I'm going to call this to-do list props. So that equals to, not equals, but object. And in here, I'm going to say task. And this task is basically have a task interface, and this is basically an array. Okay. And of course, we can do, let's say React, let's say dot function component, and then we can put the to-do list props inside in here. Okay. So now we can grab the tags here. I'm going to destructuring that. Let's say tags, just like that. So now if I map through the tags right here, I think we can do that. Let's remove this command, and inside the T body, I'm gonna do task, right? Dot map. As you can see, map is automatically right here because TypeScript knows this is an array. Okay, so we can say dot map, and then we get the individual task inside in here. Let's say task, and I'm going to return. Let's say for now, I just want to say tr right here. Okay, just put that right here. As you can see, it's missing key props, so we can say key set equals to we can say task dot. As you can see, we have the suggestion ID and text. Okay, this is the benefit of TypeScript. I'm going to select ID. Let's remove the first TD here, and I'm going to render the text. So I can say task dot text, just like that. And now we should be able to see this buy milk with some orange, and also the help my friend to find a girl. And I'm going to change this head here. So let's go back to up here. And this is going to be the task, and this is going to be the action. So let's remove this favorite color. I'm going to say actions. Okay, just like that. So now I'm going to create another component called task. Task is basically a component that will render all this TR. So now I'm going to go back to components, and let's create a file called task.jsx, right? Because we're using TypeScript. So in here, I'm going to say rfce, and I'm going to import this task into the to-do list. So I'm going to, for now, just want to copy this, okay, and put that right here. Paste that here, just like that. And of course, it should be have a task as a props here. Yeah, I think we can just destructuring the task like so. Let's go back here, and I'm going to render the task component here, just like that. And we get an error because we don't send the task. Task set that equals to task, just like that. And we still get an error because the key prop. So we need to add key here. So let's say key set equals to task.id. Okay, just like that. And now the wording is gone. Let's go back to task here. And as you can see, if I hover here, the task is have any type. So let's create the interface up here. So I'm going to do interface. I'm going to call task props set equals to, not equals, and I'm going to say task, and this is going to be have interface task come from the types here. Okay, so let's put the interface into the task component. So we can say react dot functional component, and we can put the task props like so. Okay, cool. So now, as you can see here, this is automatically working. And if I remove, say dot, as you can see we have the suggestion. Okay, cool. So let's save and let's take a look. We have the same thing. Cool. So now what we need to do is let's create a modal when we click the add new text button here. Okay, so let's go back to the DaisyUI, and we are going to, let's go through the modal. I think it's going to be right here. Just click the modal, and I'm gonna use the, where is that? The modal right here with the X button in the right top corner. So let's click the JSX, and basically I'm gonna copy this modal here. Let's copy that, And I'm going to create another component called Modal. Say modal.tsx, and here I'm going to say rrfce, and of course I need to paste the modal right here. Okay, let's remove the React, and here we go. Let's just minimize this. So now let's render this modal into the add text component here. So I'm going to do right here. Let's do modal. Okay, just like that. And now we should see modal. Okay, not of course, because if we want to showing the modal, we need to add class here called modal-open. Okay, if we add this class, it should be showing the modal. So what we need to do now is basically inside the add tags here, we need to add a state that will handle the modal pop-up. Okay, so here I'm going to create a variable which is state, and I'm going to call this modal open and set modal open. Okay, so that it goes to use state. By default it should be false. Okay, and of course when I hover here, and as you can see the modal is boolean, but of course you can add a type here. We can say this should be boolean. We can say like so, and we need to send this modal open into the modal component. So we can say modal open set equals to modal open. Okay, so let's go back to modal here, and we are going to create interface to create rules into the props here. So we can say interface, and I'm gonna call this modal props. Let's say modal props, and I'm gonna put this modal, I forget the name, modal open. All right, so we can say modal open. This is going to be boolean. All right, just like that. And now we can put this modal props into the modal component. So we can say React, and then we can do functional component, and we can put the modal props right here. So now we can grab the modal open in here. We can say modal and then open. Okay, so now we are going to, basically this is going to be template literals. So I'm going to use curly braces, and in here, let's just remove that for now. Now I'm going to use backtick, and I'm going to say modal. And here, if the modal open is true, let's say modal open is true, I'm going to add class called modal-open. But else, if the modal is false, I just want to put empty string here. So now let's go back to add task here. And when I click this button, okay, I'm going to add on click event, put the arrow function in here. We can say set open modal into, I'm gonna say true. Okay, the name is wrong, set open modal, set modal open. Okay, all right, so let's use set open modal, and let's go back. All right, we have this error. That's because every component inside the app here will be becoming a server component by default, but server component is not support use state. Okay, so we need to change this component, the add text component, into the client component. So how to do that? It's pretty simple. We can just say string here called use client, just like that. When I save, and it should be gone. Okay, so when I click this add new tag, it should be open the modal. When I click this one, it's not going to be work because we need to send also the set modal open into the modal here, so we can run that into the modal here. Okay, so let's go back, and we need to send this. So let's go with set modal open set equals to set modal open, and of course we need to handle that right here. Okay, set modal open into, this is going to be arrow function and returning void. So now inside this label here, I'm going to remove the HTML4, and I'm going to add on click here, and this on click basically will run the set modal open. Set modal open. Oh, we don't yet import that as a props here, so let's put the set modal open, and now we need to run that right here, and we need to say false. Okay, just like that, and now it should be working. As you can see, when I click this, it's going to open the modal. When I click that, it should be close the modal. Cool. But as you can see here, we get some warning. That's because as you can see, the warning is expected 0 argument but got 1. So in here, what we need to do is, let's say, open. The open it should be boolean, and also this function will returning a boolean. Okay, we can just say, I think we can say boolean. Let's remove this and do a boolean like so. All right, it's still working, and as you can see, it is clean. Cool. So the next thing is inside the add text. Basically, I'm going to send. Oh, you get some warning here. I think let's go back, and I'm going to let's go back to Modal, and I'm going to add or let's say void here. Okay, this is going to be remove the warning up here. All right, so basically now I'm going to add a children inside this modal. So I'm going to remove this close tag, and here I'm going to use self closing modal tag, and in here I'm going to add it's going to be modal for add to do. Okay, let's save, and as you can see, it's get a warning because we don't handle the children. So let's go back to modal, and we need to handle the children in here. So let's say children. The children is basically React, let's say node. And now we can put the children here. We can say children, and we can use the children right here. So basically, I'm going to remove all the paragraph and head tree, and I'm going to put the children right here, just like that. So now when I click, as you can see, we have modal for add to do. And I click this X button, it also closed the modal. All right, everything look working. So let's do, I think in here we need to create a form. Let's remove this text, and I'm going to do form. Let's remove the action. We don't need to use action in here. And this form is basically have let's do head tree here, and I'm gonna call this let's say add new task. Okay, let's styling this head tree a little bit. I'm gonna say class name set equals to, it's gonna be font bold and also text large. And also down here, I'm going to put a div. This div have a class name called I think modal action. And down here inside the modal action, we're going to put the input. So let's go back to the DaisyUI, and we are going to looking for text input, and I'm going to use this text input with border. Okay, so let's click this. I'm going to copy. Let's go back and put the right here. So let's save, and the maximal width, I'm going to set that to full. So let's do a width, I'm going to say a full, just like that. And also down here, I'm going to put the button submit. So let's do button. I'm going to say submit. Let's add some class name here. Class name set equals to, let's do btn, and the type it should be submit. Let's say type set equals to submit. Okay, let's do submit like so. And I save, and let's take a look here. When I click, as you can see, we have the title, the input field, and also the button submit. Cool. So inside the form here, I'm going to handle the on submit event, and I'm going to create a function called handle submit new to do, just like that. And let's copy the function name, and I'm going to create the function name up here. So we can say const handle submit new to do set equals to error function. I'm going to grab the event here, and I'm going to say e.prevent. And as you can see, in the e here, it's get some warning because the e have any type. So we need to fix this. So inside the function here, I'm going to add a type called form event handler. Okay, this one. And also inside in here, I'm going to put HTML form element like so. So now in here, I can say e dot. As you can see, we have all the function that we need. So basically, we need to use prevent default, which is this one. Okay, cool. And next thing is I'm going to create a state. So let's do it here. I'm going to say cons. The state name, I'm going to say new text value, and the function set new text value. Just like that. The v here, it should be uppercase like that. And set it equals to, let's say use state. By default is going to be empty string. And of course, when we hover this, it should be half a type string. But of course, we can change, or we can just put that right here, the string. So now inside the input, we can say value set equals to the name of the state, which is new text value. So we can put that right here. And of course, we can add the on change event. And I'm going to grab the E, and I want to say set new text value into e.target.value. All right, so now here I just want to console log the new text value so you can see the value in the console. So I'm going to say console log new text value like that. Okay, and when we typing something inside the input field, let's say hello, I hit enter, and as you can see we have this hello. But of course, I need to reset the value here. Let's go back, and here I'm going to say set new text value into empty string, just like that. When I click that, it should be gone. Okay, cool. So now what we need to create is the function that will be add to do into the API. So let's go back to the API file. And in here, we need to create another function that will handle the add to do. Let's export function. I'm going to use arrow function, and I'm going to call this add to do. Add to do. So that equals to is going to be a sync function. Okay, like that. And inside in here, I'm going to say cons respond. Set equals to, I'm going to wait for fetch. And this fetch here is basically will be fetched into the base URL, and I'm going to put slash task. Okay, and we are going to put the second parameter into this fetch function, and in here I'm going to say the method, it should be, let's say, post method, just like that. And also the header, I'm going to send let's say content type. Content type, it should be application/JSON. This should be application/JSON, and down here we need to send the body. So we can say body, and then we can use JSON stringify here. We can say JSON.stringify, and we need to put the new to do in here. Okay, the to do is basically come from this add to do function, so we can grab that right here, just like that. And also down here we need to say cons new to do, so that it goes to await for res.json. Okay, just like that. And we need to return the new to do, just like that. And of course, this add to do will returning promise. So here I'm gonna say this function will returning promise like that, and the promise is should be have a type called task right here. Okay, here we go. But the to do as well, it should be have a task interface, so we can put a task right here. Okay, cool. So now we can use the add to do function into the add task component here. Okay, so in here we can change the handle submit new to do into the async await function. So we can say async right here, and also here I'm gonna close this so you can see clearly. And in here we can say await for add to do. Okay, just make sure we import that from the API here. So in here we need to send the new to do. So let's go here, and I'm going to say the ID is basically new ID. For now, I just want to put 3, and also the text. The text, it should be new text value. Okay, and as you can see, the ID have a a warning here, and they say type number is not assignable to type string, because add to do have a interface, as you can see here, a tags. A tags is basically come from here, and the ID should be string. Okay, so now we cannot put number inside the ID. Okay, the ID should be a string like that. So now the warning is gone. So now when I refresh, okay, let's go to the network to see the fetching here. So I'm gonna add new tags, and let's say go to gym. Okay, if I hit enter, and it should be make a request here. As you can see, this is the response, this is the payload, and the header here. It's going to make a request into localhost 3001/tags, and the method is post, and this payload here. Okay, but as you can see, the modal here is not gone. So we need to basically close the modal. So we can say set open modal here into false. All right. And also here, when I close that, as you can see, the new to do is not right here. What is the problem? So let's go to the documentation, the Next.js documentation, and I'm going to looking for fetching. And let's scroll down here, and for the static data fetching, we can do that like so. And for revalidating, we can use this one. And basically, we are going to use that dynamic data fetching. So we need to add this catch no store into the fetch here. So let's copy that, and let's go back to the API here, and we need to send the catch here. Okay, the catch no store into the fetch, into the get all to do's. So now when I save, and let's go back here, as you can see, now we have go to gym. So when I click add new text, let's try that again. I'm gonna go to market. I'm gonna click submit, and as you can see, we get some error. That's because we have same ID here. Okay, the response, it should be duplicate ID. As you can see, that's because we send the same ID here. Okay, the ID is 3. So I'm gonna change that to 4. Let's try that again. I'm gonna refresh and add new tags. I'm gonna say go to market. I'm gonna hit enter, and we don't see the value here until we refresh. It should be right here. So what you need to do is basically we need to refresh the browser, right? So here I'm going to use router. So we can say cons router set equals to use router. The use router is basically not come from next/router, but come from next/navigation. Okay, it's like that. And now we can use the router here. So we can say router dot refresh. So now let's try that again. I'm going to add new tags. Oh yeah, there's going to be error because we not changed the ID. So let's change that first. I'm gonna say 5. And let's refresh and add new tags here. Let's say learn math, and I'm gonna hit enter, and as you can see, the learn math is right here. Really cool. I can add new tags as well here. So let's say learn English. If I hit enter, and yeah, we always get the error. That's because the ID is still 5. So I think now we need to use UUID to create the random ID for us. So let's copy the command here and go to the terminal, and I'm going to paste that right here. Okay, to use that is really simple. Let's go to the repository here, and let's scroll it down, and I'm going to copy this import here. Let's go back, and I'm gonna close the terminal, and let's minimize this. And up here, I'm going to import version 4 as a UUID version 4 from UUID. Okay, and also we can use that here. Okay, we can copy and use that right here, just like that. But as you can see, we get some error here. That's because we don't install the type. So let's copy the npm install the self dependency types UUID. Let's copy that, and here let's open another terminal again, put it here and hit enter, and it should be fixed the error. So let's close this. As you can see, the error is gone. Cool. So now let's try again, and let's go back to simple to do here. Let's refresh and add new tags. I'm gonna say learn English. Hit enter, and here we go. We have the learn English right here. Let's do that again. Let's say walking with my dog, and if I hit enter, and as you can see, it's right here. All right, the add new tags is working now. What the next we need to do is basically in here we need to showing the icon, the edit icon and the delete icon. So let's close all of that, I think. All right, cool. So now the icon is should be inside the tags here. All right, inside in here. So let's go to React icons. So we need to install that. I think we have already installed, or I forgot that. So let's go here and React icon. Yeah, we have already installed. Cool. So now I'm gonna looking for edit. So we are gonna use this fi edit, this icon here. So let's click and let's go back. We are gonna use the icon in here. Let's remove the blue text here, and I'm going to render the fi edit. So let's import the fi edit right here. So we can say import fi edit from, gonna become from React icon / fi, because we're using this fi. Okay, so now if I save, and it should be showing the icon. All right, nice. So let's change the size here a little bit. I'm going to use 25. So let's say size set equals to 25. And let's see, here we go. It's look nice. And also I'm going to looking for trash icon. So let's search for trash. And what I'm going to use, so I think I'm going to use this fi trash too. So let's copy that and let's use that right here. So we can put that like so. And also the size, let's do 25 as well. Size set equals to 25. And of course we need to import that from the React icon / fi. Let's save, and now we should be able to have two icon here. So let's add the class name. The class name should be flex, and the gap I'm gonna add 5. Let's save, and here we go. Cool. So for the edit here, I'm going to add a color. So let's say class name, and I'm gonna change the color into blue. Text blue. I'm gonna do 500. And also for the trash color, which is the delete color, I'm going to change that to text red 500. And here we go. And basically I'm going to push this icon to really right here, okay, into the first TD here. I'm going to add class name, and the width I'm going to set that to full. Okay, it should be push the content into the right here. All right, the cursor should be pointer as well here. So let's do cursor, let's say pointer. And also I'm going to copy this and put that right here as well. All right, we do something wrong. Here we go. And it should be pointer now. Cool. So now when we click the icon here, it should be showing the pop-up. So now let's create the modal. I think I'm going to just copy the modal come from the add tags here. So we can just copy this modal. I'm going to copy that, go to tags here, and I'm going to put the modal down here. Okay. And of course we get a lot of error because we don't have this modal open and a lot of dysfunction. So let's create app here. So first I'm going to create state called, let's say, open modal edit, and also the function set open modal edit. Okay, so equals to use state. By default it should be false. So we need to create two modal state here. Basically, the first thing is for the edit, and the second thing is for the delete, like so. All right, so here we need to, of course, import the modal, and we need to send the open modal edit to modal open here. And the set modal open, it should be set that equals to set modal edit. Okay, it's one. And also this function here, I'm going to change that to instead of handle submit new to do, I think I'm going to change that to handle submit edit to do. Okay, so let's create a function up here. Let's say cons handle submit edit to do, so that equals to arrow function. Okay, for now just put like so. Of course we need to put the arrow here. And the next thing is the value here. The value should be come from the tags here, but of course we need to add state to handle the change. All right, so here I'm going to say cons, and here I'm going to say tags to edit. Let's say tags to edit, and also the function set tags to edit. Set equals to, by default, it's not empty string, but by default it should be tags.tags. No, that's tags.tags. Just like that. Okay. And of course you can add the types here. For the open modal, it should be boolean, and for this one here, of course this should be boolean as well, and for this tags to edit, it should be string. So let's change this value here to the value come from here, tags to edit. So we need to copy that, put it here, and the function, it should be set tags to edit. All right, everything look working. Oh, we need to remove this duplicate class name, and I think we have also duplicate class name here, so let's remove that as well. All right, cool. So let's go back, and now, oh yeah, we get an error because it's like an in-add text here. This is basically by default is server component, so we need to change that into client component with use client string. So you can put up here, just like that, and the error is should be gone. When I click edit, oh, there's not working because I think we don't handle the on click inside the fi edit icon. So we can say on click, and here I'm going to running function, and the function is should be set the open modal edit into true, just like that. So now let's take a look. When I click, as you can see, it should be open the modal, and of course the label here, it should be edit. So let's go to modal heads tree here. I'm going to change that to edit task. All right, cool. As you can see, if I click the go to gym, it should be showing the go to gym. If I click the learn math, it should be showing learn math. All right, really cool. So basically inside this function, it's really similar like this function here. Okay, so I think I'm going to copy all of this, copy that, and go back here into tags here, and I'm going to paste that right here. Here we go. Okay, but of course here we get some warning because the form event handler, it should become from React, and also the add to do here is not going to be add to do now. It should be edit to do, but we don't have yet. I think we need to just comment this. And set new tags value, it should be set tags to edit. Okay, we make it to empty string. And the set open modal, we need to set that to false. And the router here, of course, we need to import the router. We can say cons router set equals to use router. It should become from next navigation, like that. All right, cool. And what the next thing we need to do? We need to create the API. So let's go to api.ts, and here we need to create the edit to do. So let's copy this, paste that down here. So now we need to change the name here into, I'm going to say edit to do, and it's going to be tagged to do. All right, cool. And of course it should be get specify the ID, so we need to put the to do.id here. Okay, and the method it should be put method, and everything look same. And of course this new to do it should be updated to do, just like that. All right, I think we can use edit to do now into the text component. So we can just uncomment this, and now we need to use this edit to do, and of course we need to import that. The ID is basically come from the tags, not text but tags.id. Okay, it's gonna be come from this props here, and the text it should be text to edit right here. All right, I think it should be working. Let's go back, and I'm going to edit the learn English here. I'm going to click, and as you can see the value right here, and I'm going to change to learn programming. So hit submit, and as you can see it's updated automatically. Really cool. So next let's working with the delete here. I'm going to first create the API here. So I think let's just copy this and put that down here. And now it's going to be let's say delete to do. Delete to do is basically just have an ID here. So the ID is basically string, so you can say string, and this promise is basically will returning void, so we don't need to return anything. So let's put void, and here we need to, the method it should be delete, like so, and also it's going to be ID, and the body and the header we don't need that. And also here we need to just remove that, just simple as that. And of course the variable here we don't need that. All right, just like that. So now let's go back to tags here, and first we need to create the modal, and down here, down the icon, we need to create the modal, right? So I think we can just copy this modal here. Let's copy that and put it right here. So instead of form, I'm going to remove this form here, okay, the children inside this modal, like that. And also I'm going to change this modal open to open modal delete. Also the function, it should be set open modal delete. Okay, so the modal children, it should be, I'm going to put history, and I'm going to say, are you sure you want to delete this task, right? And also this history have a class name, and I'm going to say tags to large. And also down here we have a div. This div have a class name, and I'm going to say modal-action. And also inside of modal action we have I think just a button. So this button have text yes, and here I'm going to add on click. So let's say on click, when we click the button yes, I need to run the handle delete tags. So let's do handle delete task. Okay, we need to send the ID, so we can put the tags.id, just like that. And of course the class name, it should be btn. All right, so let's create this handle delete tags function. So I'm going to do up here, let's say const handle delete tags set that equals to arrow function, and it's going to be tag ID. So the ID is basically a string, and in here this is going to be async await function, so we can say async, and here we are going to wait for a delete to do. It's going to become from the API that we create here, okay? And the delete to do have a property called ID. So let's send the ID down here. So we need to put the ID like so. And down here, we need to set the open modal delete to false because we need to close the modal. And again, we need to say router dot refresh. Let's go back, and I'm going to delete walking with my dog. Click this, nothing happened because again, we don't handle the on click inside the icon here. So we can say on click set equals to, I'm going to say set open modal delete into true. Let's save, and when I click this email with some orange, I'm gonna click yes, it should be gone. Okay, let's click that again, it's gone. All right, it's working. When I try to edit here, we have some bug, I think. So let's see here, we have this tag go to gym. When I say go to gym new, if I click submit, as you can see, this is updated, right? But when I click that again, it's empty here. Okay, that's the bug. Let's go back here. So basically what happened is we set the set text to edit is empty string. So we don't need to do that. Let's remove this. It should be fixed the problem. So let's refresh to make it clean. I'm going to edit this one and just remove the new keyword right there. I'm going to click submit. As you can see, this is updated. And if I hit edit again, and the value is here. Okay, everything work now. So let's delete, add new tags. I'm gonna say finish Chandev tutorial coding. And if I hit enter, and it should be up here. Okay, cool. We can also edit this. We can say done and hit submit, and also this is updated. All right, also we can delete that. All right, everything working, guys, and hopefully you follow along this tutorial until it's done. And also button like and subscribe is still down there, so you can click that. And see you in the next video. Bye.